I often talk about bad movies in many of my videos, and most of the time when I talk about them, I don't really feel like, we'll say like anger, I guess, towards them. I feel more indifferent, or I go like, oh, okay, that was bad, you know? But I still have fun talking about it. There's only one other movie that I could think of where like I actually legitimately hated watching that, and talking about it was just kind of like a sense to get those feelings out, and that was Suicide Squad 2016. And now we get to add another one to that list. We're talking about a movie that was so bad it made me reconsider like everything that I've been doing. Like, why do I keep doing this to myself? And that is Son of the Mask, a sort of sequel to the Jim Carrey movie The Mask, which I remember watching, and you know, I think it's pretty good. Not one of my favorite movies ever, but I think it's fun, and I like Jim Carrey in it. Son of the Mask, however, I definitely know it is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, one of the worst comedies. It is really bad, and now I'm gonna talk about it. I wanted to do this video a super long time ago, but I just never got around to it. But you know, I watched Son of the Mask. I will not let my suffering just be thrown away like that. I'm gonna make a video on it, so here we go. Son of the Mask. It's terrible. So the original The Mask, starring Jim Carrey, came out in 1995, I believe, and it was one of the movies that helped Jim Carrey become a big star, and it was a big hit. You know, Jim Carrey became famous, and The Mask got a lot of good reviews, and it was like, you know, got made a lot of money. It got an animated series, and they really wanted to make a sequel to The Mask. They even had this like Nintendo Power contest. Nintendo Power is a magazine that Nintendo used to sell back in the day. I say that as if I was there. I wasn't. But like, yeah, apparently they had like a contest in Nintendo Power that was all like, alright kids, you could win a chance to be in the upcoming sequel to The Mask, which never ended up happening. I believe the winner just got like some games and some money as like a going like, hey, sorry, this ain't happening, kid. Because I'm assuming that's a better prize than like, you know, being in this Son of the Mask, the actual sequel to The Mask, I guess. Which, yeah, true, honestly. Yeah, being in Son of the Mask is not really a prize. But regardless, you know, they wanted to do a Mask sequel, but like, it took a lot of time, and then a lot of things changed, and they decided to go with a different approach. And that different approach is the movie we're talking about today, Son of the Mask. And man, this really wasn't good. I didn't like this movie at all. The movie does not follow Jim Carrey's character from the first movie. It instead follows Jamie Kennedy's character, whose name I do not remember, honestly. But anyway, Jamie Kennedy, he plays this guy who works at an animation studio, but not as a cartoon maker or an animator or anything like that, although he wishes to be one. He wishes to make his own cartoon. Instead, he works as a guy who dresses up as in an armadillo costume, I guess to entertain the tourists or the kids. I don't know. And he has a wife, a really pretty wife apparently, even though he's like a total loser. I don't know what that's all about. And he has a dog. I think his name was Otis. I could be wrong. And something that I find funny early on is that like he has like a house. He has like an entire room dedicated for his dog, and like the fact that him and his wife can even consider having a baby, it makes me wonder, how much money do they make? Like, is the wife pulling in all the money, or was the economy just like that, where like you can dress up as a giant armadillo and like look what looks like a pretty lame job, and then just make enough money to have all this stuff, to like have a family and like own a house? Like, I swear you can't. The economy is like so messed up now that you can't do that. You could probably like barely live off of that, but like I guess back then you could just be an armadillo and have enough for all of that. I don't know. I just think that's funny to mention. Yes, going back, Jamie Kennedy and his wife are talking about like having a baby, but Jamie Kennedy doesn't really feel like he wants a baby. I think he maybe feels like fear that, you know, he's not good enough to be a father, like ready to be a father. And they show this by having like him like do this like dream sequence where like he's imagining like, oh hey, what, you know, like his wife giving birth to like 5 or 8 babies, each of them with like vampire teeth. And I guess that signifies the fact that he's scared of like babies. Or it signifies more that he's scared of like babies like being monsters, instead of like him if he's like even qualified to be a dad. I don't know, it gives me the same vibes as that one dream sequence in Shrek the Third where Shrek is thinking about like possibly, you know, not being good to be a father, but instead it shows more fear of like babies being like complete like demons instead of like him like failing to be one. I don't know, it's so weird. It's expect to hear that a lot about this movie. But anyway, Jamie Kennedy gets ready to go to a costume party at his job. I think it's a Halloween party. And his dog finds like this mask thing that he wears, that Jamie Kennedy puts on, and then he becomes the Mask. That's right, he becomes the Mask. And here's what he looks like in this movie. I don't really like it. I like the way Jim Carrey looks as the Mask in the first movie more because like, I don't know, maybe Jim Carrey just has a better facial structure. I don't know, but like, I don't know. It's simplistic. It's just like a green face, goofy smile, and like the CG kind of does everything else. And also Jim Carrey's movements, because he could be a wacky guy. And you know what? It's appealing. It could be a bit creepy, but it's still appealing to look at for the most part, I think. Here, I don't know. I think it's like the addition of like the almost like, I guess, plasticky or whatever, like orange hair, and like the eyes look weird, and like the teeth just don't look right to me. Just like, I don't know, it just doesn't look appealing to me, I think. No offense to Jamie Kennedy, who I guess his facial structure, like, I'm not trying to say you're ugly, I'm saying the mask is ugly, I guess. And like, it's like, yeah, I don't really like the way he looks. It also doesn't really help that, like, I think Jamie Kennedy is trying too hard, I think. Like, I don't know, like, Jim Carrey just had like a more, like, I don't know, like, he does a better job at being goofy and wacky in most of his movies, but Jamie Kennedy doing it here, I don't know, it just is like, it just doesn't have the same vibe to it. I'm sorry, Jamie Kennedy, I just don't find it really all that funny. And like, having to see him like see that mask, it's just like very creepy. I don't like it. Doesn't really help when he's like going into this big song and dance number where he's changing genres. Like, he goes from like something to, I can't remember the exact order, but at one point he does like country, which was terrible. He does, I think, rock, which was also terrible, and he does like rap / R&B, which, guess what, was also terrible. And he's like really close up to the camera, like in those music videos, but I don't want to see this. It's just like really close to the, like, even closer than this. I don't want to go closer, but like, it's like that. And it's like, it's, man, I was just like, get that away from me, get that away from me. But yeah, well, all of that was like terrible to witness. In the world of the movie, he was the life of the party. Jamie Kennedy would like rock the house, and then he goes back home and he has sex with his wife, while still being in like the mask persona, which, like, I kind of have to ask a question about that. Like, is that okay? Like, he's clearly not acting like himself. He's like under the influence, I guess, of the mask, and now he's having sex with his wife. It's like, I don't know. Like, when I watched it, I was just like, is that? I feel like that shouldn't fly, right? That should, right? But I don't know. I guess they seem to be happy, because the next day, or I guess like a little while, I don't know, remember if it was exactly the next day, but something like that. It turns out the wife is now pregnant, which leads to the titular Son of the Mask. That's right, this movie isn't about the mask, it's about Son of the Mask, as you can tell. And now Jamie Kennedy has a baby he has to take care of. But because he had, you know, sex with like the mask on, the powers of the mask, I guess, transferred to the baby. Now the baby can do a bunch of wacky, cartoony stuff, and oh my god, it's all horrifying. It is all horrifying. But yeah, Jamie Kennedy like has to take care of this baby while his wife is out of town for a business trip, I think, something like that. And but at the same time, Jamie Kennedy now has a huge opportunity at his job where he can like make his own cartoon. But because he has to deal with the baby, he has to juggle all this stuff. And man, wacky shenanigans ensue. Mostly, you know, kind of horrifying wacky shenanigans, because like the stuff with the baby, mostly horrifying, which I will get to. But yeah, that's the movie. Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot to mention. There is a subplot where Loki, that's right, from Norse mythology, played by Alan Cumming, is like, has to go find the mask because his father, Odin, played by Bob Hoskins, is like telling him to like, hey, if you don't bring back the mask, you are in trouble, or something bigger than that. Not exactly that, but point is, now the Norse gods are in this, apparently. Yeah, I know. Completely out of left field, but that's like one of the first things that we see in this movie, which I didn't mention because I wanted the surprise to be jarring when I mentioned it. But like, yeah, one of the first things we see is that Loki is involved, and like the mask belongs to him, but he lost it, and so now he has to get it back, or Odin is gonna, like, you know, yeah, bad stuff, you know. And so like, yeah, like that's the subplot that we follow. And then later, when he finds out that the baby is actually like the one with the powers of the mask now, he tries to get the baby, and yeah, all that stuff. That's the movie. So this movie is very not good, as I've been making it clear, but I do want to quickly talk about what I do like in the movie, or stuff that I think could be good, honestly. Like, for example, I think I like the idea that they're trying to go for with the plot, where like there's supposed to be like a parallel between Jamie Kennedy's story and Loki's story, where it's about like fathers, where like Loki is clearly like a disappointment to his father, because like it's like, you know, I'm sure there's something in Norse mythology about that, about Odin probably not being a good, what is that noise? I don't know if you guys can hear it. There's like something's going on back there. I think it's gone now. I realized that in a previous video I might have mentioned something about like noises like going on in the background, like out in the street or something, but I don't know if it was actually you guys could hear it. Maybe it's just a me thing. I don't know. I'm getting distracted. Okay, so there's like okay, so I think there could be an interesting parallel here, where like I think like Jamie Kennedy, his whole thing is like he doesn't feel like he's ready to be a father, and now he has to deal with this like crazy like cartoon like demon baby, and so we had to see him deal with that. And at the same time, there's like a subplot where like Loki just wants to make his father like be proud of him, you know, right, and try to do this one good thing and bring back the mask. And so I don't know, I feel like there's like I think the theme of fatherhood could be legit, I don't know, pretty interesting. It isn't in this movie, but like it is there, so I'll give it credit for that, you know, right? It's like it's there, it's interesting. The mother has like almost no involvement though, so I'm sorry, actress, I forgot who plays you, who plays the mother in this. But anyway, yeah. And another thing that I like is all its homages to classic cartoons. Like there's like we see like the reason the baby acts does all this crazy stuff to like basically like annoy his father is that he sees like what our old cartoons, like there's like a whole segment where he's just like watching that old Looney Tunes cartoon with the frog, you know, right? The hello my baby, hello my, you know, that baby, that frog cartoon, classic one. I like that one a lot. The funny thing is though is that goes on for such a long time that you like if the movie just stops just so we could watch that cartoon, and it was one of the few moments where I was enjoying myself. But that was because I was like only watching that and nothing else. But like yeah, so and then we see the baby try to emulate that, and I think, I don't know, that's an interesting idea. We see like this like father really is into cartoons so much that he wants to make his own, and seeing that kind of influenced the baby, I don't know, it's kind of interesting, especially like later on when like the dog, which we'll get into, gets the powers of the mask as well, and they basically do like a sort of like Looney Tunes-esque bit with the baby where one tries to chase the other and the other one like outsmarts it with various tricks and stuff. Like I see what they're trying to go for, like try to like obviously pay homage to older cartoons, like stuff like Tom and Jerry and Roadrunner and like Wile E. Coyote with the dog and the baby in this. And I don't know, I like that. As someone who loves those classic cartoons, I think that was, honestly, I thought that was pretty cool. But like looking back on it, I think it's cool. When watching it, no, it's not cool because it is horrifying. Which leads me to my biggest complaint about why I don't like this movie. For the most part, I don't like the way it looks. Like it just feels like way too much stuff is happening, and it's all really bad. Like the way the CG, a lot of the parts for the baby to do all its crazy stuff, it's CGI, and it's really not good CGI. I don't like it, and like all the creepy, like this movie's just straight up nightmare fuel. I swear, like every other scene, there is something to be your sleep paralysis demon, and like a lot of it comes from the baby. The CGI baby is horrifying, and then like seeing him like contort his body to do all this crazy stuff, and like it's it's really not good. And then when the dog comes in, there's a car rooming in. Oh my god. If you heard that, I'm sorry. If you didn't, then I'm sorry for distracting you with that. Point is, when the dog comes in, they make him more like cartoony-ish looking, where like they don't try to make him look like hyper-realistic like they do the baby sometimes. I say, putting that quotation marks, hyper-realistic. But like, man, they also give him like added details that I just don't like. Like when his like eyes just come out of his like head, it could be like funny, but like then they add extra details to the eyes with like veins or whatever like those eyes have. You know what I mean? Like it's just like then they come out and then you like look at it and it's like, oh my god, I hate this. I don't want to look at this. A lot of this movie is just like unappealing. I already mentioned that Jamie Kennedy's mask is like not that great, and I think but then again, it's like you don't really see it too much in the movie. You just see it in like that beginning scene and then later towards the end. But the Loki stuff, we see that a bit more, and like when he does stuff like the creepiest thing I think is like when he turns into like this bee to go into like this one hospital, I believe, and like the bee itself looks really really bad. I don't like the way it looks. Looks like it's trying to be like the Green Goblin, but like the thing is like he has this like really creepy smile, like a Joker-esque smile, but like he still like talks like he's like annoyed, so the facial expression does not fit like what he's thinking at all, and like he's saying things, but I can't tell if the movie's implying that they're all in his head or if he's saying it out loud and the mouth is just not moving to what he's saying. It's just, it doesn't look good. I don't like it. I feel like I've been saying that a lot, but like, yeah, I just don't like the way this movie looks. And like, what also doesn't help is the editing. I don't talk too much about editing, you know, when I do like these movie videos, but like, it's like sometimes I really don't know how to perfectly describe like how I feel about editing and something, but here I can say things move way too fast. Like it moves from one thing to another and it can feel like just really annoying. Like I remember watching this movie and I was just like going like, oh my god, this is just noise, and it just like kept like hurting my head, like genuinely, like it genuinely was like hurting my head, like all the visuals and the way everything was moving. I just didn't like it. I go again with that, I just don't like it. But like, yeah, I just don't like the way this movie looks. And like a lot of the comments comedy wasn't good. It's a lot of because like a lot of the comedy is supposed to come from like all the crazy cartoon stuff the baby and the dog are doing, but because it looks so creepy, I just don't find it like funny. I find it more like horrifying to look at. And then there's a lot of potty humor. Like there's a scene where like the baby's peeing on him, but because cartoon stuff, the baby pees like with him like multiple streams of pee. And like, look, I can find pee and poo humor funny sometimes, but here I just didn't. I was just kind of like, oh my god, this is really annoying. Did not like that. So yeah, a lot of the movie's just not funny to me. It just really isn't. Funny thing about this movie is that I was doing some research on it, and more than just reading the Wikipedia page, I know, can you imagine? I also, oh my god, this car, just ignore it. Okay, so like, I also watched Jamie Kennedy's videos on the movie. Yeah, apparently Jamie Kennedy has a YouTube channel, and he made these videos talking about what went behind the scenes of the movie. And apparently, according to him, the original script was actually a lot better, and the movie was supposed to be, I guess, better than what we got, but they had to cut it down. They had to cut a lot of stuff out. And so that's how we got what we got here. And the thing is, like, he says, like, there's a bunch of extra footage that when added to the movie, it would make it better. And I don't entirely know how much I agree with that, because, like, some part of me goes, like, maybe. Like, I remember I watched Snyder Cut, the Zack Snyder Justice League cut. I don't know why I'm using that as my basis for, like, a comparison, but just hear me out. I remember when that was announced, I was just like, the movie is already not good. How can more of it just make it better? And then I watched that, and I was just like, okay, that was actually pretty good. I mean, I don't love the movie like everyone, like a lot of other people, but like I still thought like, yeah, that was a genuine improvement from the original. But like Son of the Mask, I already find everything in it annoying. I don't know how more of it could make it better, but I could be wrong. Maybe one day we'll get that Son of the Mask cut. No, I highly doubt it, but yeah, so like Jamie Kennedy, he seemed to believe like the original version would have been better, and so, you know, at least that's good. You know, he has that thing to say. The videos were actually pretty interesting. I really recommend you check them out. But like, yeah, I don't know. I just think that was interesting how, like, you know, this history behind it. But yeah, the movie's still terrible. This movie felt like, honestly, like a kind of a real pain to watch, like genuinely. Like, I don't know if I'd go as far to say I hate it as much as, like, let's say Suicide Squad, which I talked about a while back, like I think 2 years ago, which I said was my least favorite movie of all time, and it still is, but this is kind of, like, nearing that now, honestly, like, to, like at least the bottom 5 of my least favorite movies of all time. And, like, the thing is, like, the reason I wanted to do a video on this was because, like, I like talking about bad movies, you know, even if I don't have a good time watching bad movies, I still like talking about it because, I don't know, I think there's like some weird enjoyment that I have where I can say, I watch so-and-so, it's like a bad movie, and like, I just like think it's like personally funny for me to say, like, I saw Kangaroo Jack 2 times in my life, and like, I genuinely do enjoy doing these videos. Even this video, even though I'm describing a movie that like legit annoyed me and hurt my head as I was watching it, I'm having a fun time at least making this video, and I'm excited to see like how, you know, how you guys respond to it. And so it's like, yeah, I don't know, yeah, I don't like this movie, but I'm enjoying doing this video. However, I did realize something after I watched this movie, and I was like, I'm gonna do a video on it. Like I did not have much of an emotional or like personal connection to this movie. Like the original Mask, I watched a very long while ago, and while I do like it, I wouldn't say it's like one of my favorite movies ever. And even this sequel, well, like, yeah, it's definitely not as good as the first movie at all. Absolutely not. I still kind of felt like, you know, I was mostly wanting to do a video on it, not because, like, I thought it would be interesting to talk about The Mask, more so because, like, I just heard this movie was bad, and I thought, okay, that could be fun to talk about, and it certainly was a little bit, but, like, now I'm realizing, I think when it comes to future videos, well, I'm not going to stop making videos on bad movies, because I still very much like to do that, and there are definitely still going to be some afterwards, because there are some bad movies that I wanted to do a video on, but I never got around to. Those are going to be some of the next few. I think I'm going to stop just going with like movies that I don't really have that much of a connection or interest to. And now when I talk about bad movies, I want to find some that I genuinely am interested in talking about, whether they be I have, like I said, a personal connection to it or a memory of it from like the past, or I just think it'd be interesting to talk about because I'm personally interested in it. So yeah, Son of the Mask, I had kind of not that much interest when I was first going into it. Then after I watched it, I was just like, oh my god, this is legit horrible, and it legit made me reconsider what I was doing with these videos. I was like, you know, I don't think I'm just gonna pick random bad movies. I'm gonna pick bad movies. Like, I'm gonna curate my choices. So yeah, Son of the Mask. It was an annoying annoying mess of a movie. But, hey, you know, at least this video was fun to make.